Hello, and welcome to the Beverly J Show, What Really Matters. Today, we're going to be talking with Pastor J.D. Jameson Johnson, and he's going to help us understand. We do live streaming in different churches, and we're dealing with the pandemic, but there are rural areas that aren't able to get fast internet, and we're having problems with the kids as far as their classes and with some of the members of the church knowing how to get online to watch the services. And so today we're going to be talking with Pastor Johnson, and he's going to help explain some of these issues to help the students, the parishioners, and worshipers get online to watch. Tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, Pastor Johnson, and then we're going to jump into asking fire these questions away to you, because we know you have a background in technology as well.
Yes. Thanks, Beverly, for having me on the show. Hello to everyone. My name is Jameson Johnson, and I happen to pastor the Mount Church in Chinquapin, North Carolina. And so it is my privilege to be here to offer you some technology tips, as I've done technology for the past 15 years of my professional life. And so moving back to the country, I plan to bring all my skills and efforts to help our area to use technology to the best of its ability to reach people.
Okay. Well, let's start with our students. We know that there are a lot of them that don't have access to the internet or have problems with slow internet. What kind of advice do you have, or how do these students get access to internet in rural areas where internet providers don't have service?
You know, Bella, we've been struggling with the internet gremlin, if you will, right there on Cold Swamp Road. For those of you familiar, when we speak of rural area, specifically for me, growing up on Cold Swamp, adjacent to Pickett Bay Road, back in the day, we only had dial-up internet. So to this very day, we have some high-speed internet on those two particular streets, but there are a lot of other areas in our community that do not even have DSL technology and are still using satellites to get internet, which is very slow and unreliable. And so for students in this new age of coronavirus and COVID-19, the struggle is real as it relates to getting into their classes and gaining access to consistent internet in our area. And so for students, it's been a challenge for not only the Board of Education for Duplin County and other surrounding counties and communities, but what has had to happen is mobile stations have been deployed by Duplin County for students to pull up or drive in to access Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, in order to do their assignments and classwork. That is one thing that has happened to address rural areas where internet access just doesn't exist. We have a family in our church now that lives in an area that does not have DSL, fiber optic, or anything that is of value that can allow them to submit schoolwork, definitely not even watch a Netflix video. And so for families like that, they could utilize the Duplin County mobile stations. They can utilize businesses who across the county have opened up their Wi-Fi's to the public for free, so that students can do work. And even for us as a ministry, a church in the rural area that's struggling, we offer students the opportunity to come to our facility and use our internet for free, whether they want to come inside or out. We offer both opportunities for students to come in and complete schoolwork and use our Wi-Fi as they deem necessary.
Okay. And that might be something that some volunteers in the area could possibly help with, because I have noticed that there are churches in Duplin County that have acquired Wi-Fi, but there needs to be volunteers to help supervise these kids after school, because some of the churches are near schools, but there needs to be someone to step up and help supervise that we can open up some of these churches and maybe use the cafeteria with that, as long as they're 6 feet apart and they can wear their mask and they can be safe, to help some of these areas that don't have access to internet in that way. Also, how do parishioners and worshipers that like to watch their worship service online, but they're in rural areas that may be really slow. Do you have any advice for them as far as trying to get on, or is it any harder to watch than anything else on Facebook? Some people think because it's a show, they may need more broadband, or could you explain that and make that a little clear?
Absolutely. And the basis and foundation of that question, re- it lays with, for our area, it could be difficult to watch high definition videos or streams. For instance, Netflix. Nobody wants to watch a movie and it's always buffering, or it's skipping, or it's
Mhm.
pixelated, and so those challenges are, very prevalent in our area, especially if you have a household and you have three TVs and an Xbox and iPads and all those devices that are all connected to the internet, that are all sucking up, or draining rather, data from an already lack of high speed. And so for parishioners who are trying, and worshipers, we're all trying to watch different worships. We're trying to watch different streams. And for our area, it can be a challenge. And um, One of the things to point there is that luckily for CenturyLink, which services most of our rural areas, some folks have the pleasure of having Spectrum, like yourself, Beverly, and other areas have the wonderful Spectrum. But for those of us who have just CenturyLink, you can still watch high definition worship, even if you're only able to download, I believe it's 12 megabytes per second for most of us, between 10 and 12 megabytes per second, which isn't a whole lot of data for download, or downstream rather, but it's enough to watch a high stream worship, and that's streaming at 1080p. If, for whatever that means for some of you, that's high definition. 720 and 1080p is high definition, and most of us are streaming at least 720, some maybe even standard definition 480, and CenturyLink can handle that. And so if your church is streaming high definition, for those of us who are using CenturyLink and or Spectrum, we will be able to watch those live services. But the only caveat is you can't have two and three people on your watching videos at the same time, or your router will get bogged down, and you'll get that pixelation and that skipping. But Comcast, Spectrum, CenturyLink. We don't have Comcast here, but whatever. There's another provider in our area. They all provide enough data for us to watch our live streams.
Okay. Well, now, what kind of advice do you have for the actual pastors and parishioners that are trying to get training and learn how to actually broadcast their shows through streaming?
Well, one of the things for those of us who are in what I like to call Egypt areas, desert areas, if you will, um, COVID is going to be here, if not the effects of it, for the foreseeable future. And so we're going to have to embrace technology and internet, and these things that were not a concern of the past are really a concern now. And I would start with saying that we, as a community, for those of us who don't have access to the appropriate high-speed internet, we need to start lobbying and advocating for providers to come into our communities and provide the high-speed internet that we need. Our children are going to need to have access to it for school, for worship, and for other things. And so we really have to wrap our minds around that the need for technology is not going anywhere. And we need to begin to embrace not only getting providers to provide appropriate access to high speed internet, but we also need to start setting the mindsets for parishioners, our staff, members, and pulling on them to volunteer and to help with this push. This is a push. This is a campaign. This is new. This is different for us in rural areas. Um, but we're a little bit behind as far as the technology bug, but the buck stops here, Beverly. We've got to pick up the mantle and run with this technology. And so
Definitely.
for pastors and for leaders and for deacons and for ushers, everybody, first we have to get the mindset that we've got to do this. There's no way around it. And as it relates to training, it's going to take time. Me and Beverly have had a huge learning curve with all of the technology that we've implemented, and
Yes.
we are still learning stuff. And so it doesn't come overnight. And I've been doing software development and things of that nature for 15, 16 years. And yet in the sound realm, as far as audio visual, I'm still learning.
And it keeps changing, because when I was in film school, we actually, well, I'm gonna be telling my age. Of course, they had stopped doing it, but they made us learn how to actually do film with an X-Acto blade. So
Right.
it is constantly changing. Technology is constantly changing, and we don't want our kids to fall behind because they don't have access to it.
Exactly. We definitely don't want that. And so, to your point, Beverly, is constant. Like, for instance, when we went to streaming from 1080p back to 720 and testing out which one flowed better, and just knowing how your stuff works and how it works, and kind of tweaking. It's going to take a lot of tweaking. It's going to take a lot of Googling and time,
And
just to kind of
YouTubing.
and YouTubing, and then just pulling on people who have been there. And so we pull on folks. I pull on people who have done this before. One of the individuals that set up a lot of our stuff and trained us, Kelly Orr, we asked him plenty of questions on how, what, when, and where. And so for all of you churches and pastors who need help, just reach out to someone who is already. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Beverly, or anyone who is already using the technology to assist you. I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions as it relates to how your broadcast can be improved. More than willing to lend a hand to help and assist wherever I can to ensure that your ability to reach your congregation in their homes is successful.
And that's what it's all about. Actually, that's what this show is about, sharing knowledge and what really matters. I mean, can't tell you what Kim Kardashian had on her last show, but I do know a little about technology to help some students learn something. So that's what it's all about us sharing our knowledge from church to church, everything that we can acquire to help us move forward as a people. I thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I hope some people do reach out. If you have time to help volunteer, contact myself, contact the pastor. The Mount Church comes on every Sunday, and we're trying to help other churches to be able to live stream as well. And if you go on the Mount website, you'll see ways to contact them if you'd like to volunteer and help out at the church, or have some time to help kids with homework with the Wi-Fi that we have there at the church. Just let us know and put your comments, post your comments. We're going to put these on different pages. It'll be on the Mount. It'll be on TBI Videos and Stills. It'll be on the Beverly J Show page. And we would like to hear what you have to say. We'd like to see your comments. And I will be responding back to some of the comments concerning COVID that we had on the last show. So start watching the Beverly J Show page. I'll show you how to get in touch, get to it. And please join us on Sunday with the Mount and Pastor Johnson. And we hope you continue to watch and look for things on our show that we feel like really matters. So what really matters. Thank you again so much, Pastor Johnson.
Thank you.